A new bill has been proposed that would help and provide many Americans with a $400 stimulus check, everybody. You want to be sure to continue watching this video to find out how to receive it. So these payments could be received by next month, and California Governor Newsom has not been hesitant to send out more crisis relief money to people in need in the state of California. And with the federal enhanced child tax credit reverting to its original pre-crisis payment of $2,000 per kid, the latest state-initiated benefit program that Newsom could authorize would target the state's most vulnerable and economically disadvantaged people. Los Angeles Assembly member is proposing to use some of California's $97 billion surplus to help support the state's low-income families. And per marca, one-time payments will go to the state's poorest and those making under $30,000 a year. The proposed Assembly bill recommends expanding the current child tax credit to administer a payment of $2,000 per child. The bill also proposes extending the California Earned Income Tax Credit to raise the minimum amount from $1 to $255. According to state officials, the bill passed through the California State Assembly on May 27th, now rests with the Governance and the Finance Committee. Newsom has already announced an $18 billion package aimed at relieving inflation for struggling Californians. The proposed relief program would include $400 checks to all eligible registered vehicle owners in the state. The proposal comes as drivers face record gas prices. Newsom said we enacted the most comprehensive economic stimulus program in the nation last year, getting billions of dollars in immediate relief to Californians. Many folks are still struggling, especially with high costs due to inflation. And so we're leveraging a historic surplus to get money back into the pockets of Californians. Other areas of financial relief include public transportation and childcare for low-income families. Newsom's plan would offer these services for an even further subsidized rate, if not free of charge, for a limited time. A further $1,500 in relief checks is also proposed for hospital and nursing home staff. A new minimum wage will take effect in California next year, an increase caused by inflation. The California Department of Finance said they project inflation for the 2022 fiscal year will be even higher than the year before, causing the increase. The governor has also announced that Connecticut families, everybody, can soon apply to receive a state tax rebate of up to $250 per child for a maximum of 3 kids as a result of the recently enacted 2022 Connecticut Child Tax Credit Rebate that he signed into law earlier this month. The governor told reporters, in addition to making groundbreaking investments in childcare, crime prevention, and caring for our most vulnerable, the budget that we just enacted provides relief, specifically targeted for lower and middle income families with children. Any Connecticut resident who claimed at least one dependent child under the age of 18 on their 2021 federal tax return may be eligible as well. 300,000 Connecticut households will soon reap the benefits of the largest tax cut in the state's history. The 2022 Connecticut Child Tax Credit Rebate is part of the 2023 fiscal year budget, adjustment recently signed into law by the governor. According to a press statement released by the state of Connecticut, the one-year state budget includes $663 million in tax cuts, including a $250 child tax credit, similar to the federal enhanced child tax credit that expired last year.
I said to Nicole, I had forgotten that we had that somewhat challenging virtual connection, but so good to be here in person. And I thank Nicole already for the weather. What a stunning day to be here in Morristown. So Nicole, thank you for that introduction, and thank you for your passion and everything that's going on here in Morristown. Deputy Mayor Sue Mamarella as well, and the rest of council. It is an honor to be in his backyard, Congressman Andy Kim. I said, Andy, I think you could walk here this morning, and I believe you may have. My colleague and partner in government, the one and only, the singular Lieutenant Governor, and the Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs, importantly today, Sheila Y. Oliver. Melanie Walter to her left, the Executive Director of the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency. Terry Tucker's in the house to Melanie's left. And I know he wanted to be here today. Please keep Troy Singleton and his family in your prayers. His grandmother passed over the weekend, so Troy wanted to be with us today. Alex Staropoli, did I get the last name right? How did I do, Alex? No, I passed the Director of Advocacy and Communications at the Fair Share Housing Center, and to all of your colleagues at Fair Share. I extend also my condolences on the passing of the former board chair, Kelly Francis, whose funeral I think maybe is today, I believe, right? God rest his soul. We got Rudy Alberts and his colleagues here representing the Pennsylvania Real Estate Trust, which owns this mall. Reva Foster's in the house. Jeff Nash, the aforementioned Camden County Commissioner who I've lost here is in the back, is in the house, and so many other important dignitaries. It's an honor to be here. So for the past nearly 50 years, New Jersey has been engaged in a broad effort to ensure that every family, no matter their circumstance, can find an affordable place to live in a community in which they want to live. This constitutional obligation, and perhaps just as importantly, moral obligation. Stacy, is that you? Stacy Berger's here. I didn't see you, Stacy. I'm sorry. Was upheld by the New Jersey Supreme Court in 1975, and it still rings true today. But the fact is that even a half century on, this obligation to all of our state's residents has yet to be completely fulfilled. It's been a long road. The towns across the state are stepping up and doing their part to meet this obligation. And Morristown, Nicole, stands out as a great example of that. But in many communities, including right here, as Nicole mentioned, this effort hasn't been completely fulfilled because the funds needed to support the creation of new affordable housing units haven't been available to realize the goals and needs of developers, local officials, or the prospective residents, most importantly, who would benefit most from the creation.
Our next guest warns half the market is in a bubble, and high valuation stocks are a big reason why. Dan Suzuki is a Deputy Chief Investment Officer at Richard Bernstein Advisors. Dan, great to have you with us. When you say high valuation stocks, I'm guessing that you mean the ones that we were talking about versus a Clorox, which is a high valuation stock relative to itself.
Yeah, I guess, what we're referring to is, if you think about, the 11 sectors in the S&P now, about 3 of those sectors have heavy weights in kind of tech and tech-like stocks and innovation, growth, and disruption. And those 3 sectors are information technology, communication services, and consumer discretionary. Those 3 sectors alone make up about half of the market cap of the S&P 500. And I think in different ways, they're all sort of have been buoyed by this bubble that we think is present in markets today, even after this big correction. And so I think that, it's a big risk. And something we've been writing about is, where do you go for diversification if everybody's portfolio is heavily concentrated and everything out there is heavily correlated? If you want diversification in your portfolios, you actually have to proactively put that diversification into your portfolios by reducing your weights to those, just from a pure, prudent portfolio management perspective.
Last time we saw you was January 18th, I think, and then you said that you saw a NASDAQ 100 correction of 50% in the cards from its highs. And I'm wondering, are you still sticking with that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't super scientific, digging through the, asset values sort of analysis. But, if we're right, and technology and technology-related stocks are in a bubble, go back and look at the history of bubbles. They don't softly correct and then, they're off to the races 6 months later. You typically see a major correction, 50% or more, and typically it comes with an overshoot to whatever you think fair value is. And so that was all I was saying, is that, we are in the early